Hello there. Thank you for joining the Monroe County Public Library in our program 3D Printing by Email. So in this program, you're going to be able to submit a 3D design in a link or an attached file on an email. Once you send that in, we'll be able to print it for you. So there are a few caveats. One, it has to be printable in under 3 hours. So if it's too large, we may need to scale it down. If it's unprintable, we won't be able to print it. What I'm going to talk to you about today here is a couple of web services that you can use to either acquire or create a 3D design. The first of which is called Tinkercad. Tinkercad.com is the website. This is an application developed by the company Autodesk, and it's very robust and feature-filled. It's really a software that can do all the things that you want to do, and it's all for free, which is really nice. The second website I'm going to talk to you about is called Thingiverse. This is a website that just has a bunch of free 3D printed objects on there. You can download these models, and if you want to submit one of these to us, that is fine as well. You can download these here. We're going to get back to this here in a little bit, but first we're going to talk about Tinkercad. The first thing you'll have to do is create an account. I have an account, so I'm going to go ahead and just sign in. So let me pause the video real quick here to do that. Okay, so now I'm signed in here. This is what your dashboard will look like. There won't be any models in your dashboard here to start with because you'll need to create something. And to do that, there's the same button that you would use that I would also use to create a new design. Just go to this button here, create a new design, and it'll load. On this software here, it really comes down to knowing how to do two things. Those two things are adding material and subtracting material. So to add material, we have these shapes over here. There are other shapes buried in here, but I recommend using these basic shapes to learn where to start learning the basics here. To place an item onto your work plane here, you can see it's labeled. You just left click on it, and then you have that selected. You left click again to place it anywhere on the build plate, and now you have a square. If you 3D printed this right now, you would have this cube. It would print as a 3D object. That's not very exciting, but it's a 3D design. If you want to remove material from the build plate, you can use one of these objects over here. These are called holes. You can see that they are grayed out. And whenever you place them on the build plate, you'll see that it's kind of this hollow mesh shape. If you click on the properties up here, so I have this box selected, properties are right here, you'll see that hole is selected. That means that you're cutting material out. Conversely, on this box here, you see it says solid, and that means that you're adding a shape. So that's adding and subtracting materials. You may think, well, what if I wanted to make something that's like a box, but has a hole cut out of it? Let's say I'm making the letter L, or maybe a chair here. The thing that I'd want to do is intersect the hole with the solid shape and then join them together. You want to have both selected. There's this join button up here. It's called group in this program. You just hit group, and now you have an L shape or a chair shape. You can then rotate it. I definitely recommend exploring these buttons on here, and I'll show you where to get help on this program as well here in just a moment. That's really all you need to know, though, for 3D modeling. You just need to know how to add and subtract material, because you might say, well, what if I didn't want this L, but I wanted an L with a roof on it? You could click down a roof, and there are buttons to adjust here. So you can adjust the height, the width, and you can also use this little cone here to lift up the shape to go on top. So there you go. Now I have a roof. And if I wanted it to be part of this shape, I'd probably lower it a little bit and then join that together. So now I have a shape here, this L shape, with a roof on it. Now you want to make sure that things are intersecting, because if there's a space between your models, that means that there's just going to be air there. And you can't print, if there's not material there, it won't be supporting or attached properly. So make sure that you have things properly intersected. That's the main thing that you need to do. There's also a feature where you can place your work plane somewhere. By default, you place on this work plane here, but let's say you wanted to add something to the roof. I'd click this button, the work plane tool, and then click on the roof. And let's say I'm going to add some text here. I click again, and now you see that it's added it onto the roof. It's on this work plane of the roof. Get off of that, I just select somewhere else. And now I can do stuff like resize the text, make it smaller, and then make sure that it's intersecting with the roof. And then whenever you're finished, again, make sure that those objects are joined. So now we have this here. So that's kind of the basics of this program. That is very super basics, but you can learn more. So if you go onto the Tinkercad dashboard right here, there is a button up in the upper right hand corner that says Learn. You go there and you use these starters here. It goes through lessons on how to use this program. It's going to tell you to do a lot of the things I just showed you here. So if you go to this place it one, it's going to load up into a template here, and it's going to show you how to do it. It tells you to select the box and then click and drag it in here and create some really incredible things. So there are also projects that you can look at that other people have done. There's this gallery where you can see things that people have made in Tinkercad. Some of them are very complex. I recommend for getting things done in the 3-hour time limit to make things that are a little bit more simplistic, but we'll try to make it work for you. The other website that we are looking at is called Thingiverse. This website is a library of 3D models that people have created, and they provide them for people to use in their own 3D printing services. Let's say that you wanted to print this chain right here. You can go in here and you can take a look at the object, and it might take a second to load here. It'll show you the object in a 3D view here. So that's the actual picture here. Here's the 3D view. That just shows like a model. There are different sizes that you can select. In these things, people often talk about what settings they use to make them printable. And they might also talk about how the different sizes affect the printing as well. If you're wanting to select something from Thingiverse, it would be fine just to send us the link to that item. You can also download a specific file in here. These are the different sizes, and these are something called .stl files. This is a file that is a 3D model format that is pretty universal. If you download one of these .stl files, that would work, but note that each of these in this instance refers to a specific size, and it's probably on this chart here, and maybe it's in the description where it talks about how to determine what size you're wanting to print. Yeah, it's right here. Make sure that you know what size you're wanting and go ahead and indicate the color. The colors that you have available should be indicated in the program description. Select the correct color that you want. Let us know what that is. Let us know where your model is. If you design something, make sure you share a link with us. There is a link share ability in here. So if I'm in my Tinkercad account here, I can share this by going to send to, share with people and apps. And I can send an email to the library or get a shareable link and generate a link and send this link into us here. Again, it's share right here, add people, generate a link if one's not generated, and then copy that link. And that's what you're going to send in. And with that, I think that you can design something or just find something that you would like to be printed and send it to us. Again, we may need to make adjustments for time limitations, but if you send something in, we will make it work for you. With that, good luck. We look forward to seeing your models.